Tonight, the Eagles have landed in a one-point nail-biter. West Coast swoops to take the flag.
Who would have thought the sequel would be just as good as the original? The West Coast Eagles are the premiers for 2006.
10 News with Mal Walden.
Good evening, and West Coast has soared to a thrilling premiership victory. Memories of last year's Heartbreak inspired the Eagles to a flying start before a crowd of 97,431 fans. But the Swans surged in a super tense second half, West Coast desperately clinging on to snatch the flag in their claws. James Wakeland begins our coverage.
Excited fans arrived early, warming to the task of cheering their teams over the line. Many travellers lining up for last-minute tickets, others declaring their desperation.
I paid $1,400 to get over here, so I'd probably go close to half that to get a ticket.
In the end, $200 was all it took.
We're going! What are you dirty? Go you Eagles! Wow!
But as police patrolled for scalpers, most fans left empty-handed.
Cost me thousands to get down here and I can't get in.
Barbies nourished the masses, while liquid refreshments were also on hand. Security tight as supporters entered the sporting mecca. For the fans, it's the most important day of the year. Everyone loving the Melbourne sunshine and the build-up to the biggest game on the Australian sporting calendar. The almost 100,000 strong crowd taken back in time by dance diva Irene Cara. For Australia's new idols waltzed onto the field. Don Paul Young delivered a suitable tribute to retiring stars. And a crowd favourite added to the electrifying atmosphere. The main entertainment then taking to the field. Two new great football rivals renewing hostilities.
Away in the grand final of 2006.
James Wakeland, 10 News.
Yes, for the second successive year, the Eagles and the Swans put on a magnificent spectacle at the MCG. The two arch rivals fighting out another heart-stopping game before the West Coast lifted the Premiership Cup for the third time in their 20-year history.
After 365 days and 2.5 punishing hours, revenge couldn't have been any sweeter.
Can the Swans do it? Who would have thought the sequel would be just as good as the original?
In a result which echoed everything contest between these two sides has been about, a battle-weary West Coast emerged victorious after almost losing the unlosable.
To be involved in another great one and win, I think that's sort of compounded the feelings.
Tears from one of the game's all-time greats before Chris Judd realised a moment he said pre-match he'd never dared dream of. Victory also the crowning glory for coach John Worsfold, who 12 years ago held aloft the silverware as Eagles captain. The emotion enough to finally break his steely facade. Worsfold now just the sixth man to have captained and then coached a premiership side.
They've worked so hard, everyone does, every team works hard, but they've really knuckled down the last 4 or 5 years.
For the vanquished, the glories of 12 months ago were raised by just 1 point in the most agonising afternoon at the G. Damien Booth, 10 News.
So let's cross live now to the winners' rooms, and we're joined by reporter Kelly Underwood, where I gather, Kelly, the Eagles are celebrating a reversal of fortune in style.
Mal, I can hardly hear any word you're saying. As you can see, total euphoria behind me. Gee, it's difficult to put into words what's just unfolded at the home of football in the last hour or so. And I can tell you, as the Eagles players made their way into the players' rooms, it sparked wild celebrations. They were engulfed by family, friends and officials. Pretty safe to say one of the happiest men in Australia at the moment is none other than Andrew Embley, the Norm Smith medalist. Andrew, what an absolute classic.
Oh, the feeling is indescribable. I mean, I guess after last year's disappointment for the boys to bounce back and make a grand finals, let alone win one, is something that's remember for the rest of our lives.
Can you describe for me the emotions when that final siren went? I mean, 1 point, who would have thought?
I don't think any of
the last few minutes because it was just so close in the dying stages?
Oh, I didn't want to come back next week. No, I didn't really think about it. I mean, I just knew that next contest that we're in, just had to make it a really good contest, and we did that.
Congratulations, Andrew. The Norm Smith medalists for 2006. Go and enjoy. No doubt they will, Mal. What an unbelievable day at the MCG. And the players, in about an hour's time, head to Punt Road Oval, where they will be presented to their fans, then off to Crown Casino, and of course tomorrow morning around 11 o'clock return to Perth. Pretty safe to say, though, that there will be plenty of drinks had tonight, and the party just beginning. Mal, back to you.
Thank you, Kelly. And yes, we did hear every word. Kelly Underwood reporting live from the winners' rooms. Celebrations are in full swing around town. Raquel Everly joins us live now from Punt Road Oval. Raquel, we've just heard about an hour, I think, before the Eagles fans can expect to see their Premiership heroes. What's it like down there?
Well, Mel, thousands of West Coast Eagles fans are just flooding onto the ground, keen to get up close with their Premiership, absolute Premiership heroes. And what I can tell you is they will be joined by the players at 7:45, and they do have that all-important cup in tow. Until then, as you can probably hear behind me, the fans will be entertained by the likes of Mark Seymour and then Thirsty Merc. It's set to be a very, very big night down here, Mel.
Crowds just gathering. Thanks, Raquel. Raquel Everly reporting live from Punt Road Oval. Well, Melburnians again proved their football-loving reputation, gathering at Federation Square, by the Yarra or their local pubs, while for others the big day began with the traditional North Melbourne breakfast.
On grand final day, even Robbie Williams impersonators can't wait for kick-off.
Come on, come on, come on, come on! Come on, come on, come on, come on!
Carbon copy Robbie joining the Prime Minister and others for an early start.
Sport binds us together, whatever our differences might be on other issues.
And today we have a contest between two sides that have created, in a very short period of time, one of the game's great rivalries.
After 14 hours on the train from Adelaide, fans arrived fit to pop.
Swans are back for back-to-back.
While the family fun day at Punt Road Oval proved popular as ever. Everyone was welcome, even Collingwood fans.
I'm going for the ball. It's going to score the most goals for sure.
The Swans may have left years ago, but South Melbourne faced its history as punters stocked up.
It is a very big selling day, been busy since 6 o'clock this morning.
By the Yarra, barbecues weren't the only things getting fired up.
Come on, Goldie, you can get better than that.
Less comfort but greater numbers at Federation Square, thousands feeling every moment. Christopher Still, 10 News.
Well, as can be expected, things not quite so happy in the Swans' former heartland. Reporter Mignon Henny joins us live now from South Melbourne. And Mignon, as an Eagles supporter, you'll be pleased with the result, but you're in dangerous territory there. What's it like?
I am in dangerous territory, but yes, Mal, as a native Western Australian, I'm a pretty happy camper, unlike this time last year. But yes, I'm in enemy territory, and I must say there are a few sad and sorry faces here today. Now, Melbourne put on the weather, and the pubs, of course, put on the beer, and just as well, because here in South Melbourne, the Victorian heartland for the Sydney Swans, they need a drink. Hundreds here drowning their sorrows, as it may have been the epic rematch of last year's grand final, but a very different result. Of course, the Swans losing by just 1 point. It's a sea of red and white here, and it's a sea of almost tears. The Eagles coming back with payback. The crowd here riding the ups and downs of their side before conceding defeat, not until the very last siren. But Mal, like many losers, these supporters are set here to stay at the bar and lament on the one that got away. It's not back-to-back wins for them, but I'm sure it's going to be back-to-back beers.
We'll leave them with you. Thank you, Mignon. Mignon Henny reporting live from South Melbourne. More grand final coverage a little later in this bulletin. But in other news tonight, bounced by the law, the man charged with trying to extort thousands from former cricketer Craig McDermott.
Feel like a bit of dysfunctional family fun?
Laugh. Then spin.